Does this support you, the betrayal of the Chinese Communist government against the Catholic Church? Why do I say that?
Yeah.
There are portraits, Chinese Communist portraits replacing Catholic symbols in the Catholic churches in Communist China.
Yep.
The places of worship refusing to be controlled by the state are being shut down, while the government-run churches are used to worship the Chinese Communist Party. And a Catholic church in a city called Jian in the southeastern province of Jiangxi was built this year at the cost of more than $1 million, in our money, $140,000, which had been raised by believers. And it was named, quote, the true and original source of the universe, close quote. That's a reference to the name inscribed in 1711 on a plaque of one of the Chinese communist emperors. And that was donated to the Catholic Church in Beijing. And not long after this church opened its doors, the church became the target of the local government's persecutions. In fact, in late September, local officials ordered the congregation to paint over the sign with the name of the church and replace it with the following, quote, follow the party, obey the party, and be grateful to the party. They're talking about the Communist Party.
Of course.
And also to display the national flag of the communist at the entrance of the Catholic Church. And I'll tell you what also has hurt a lot of the congregations most is the removal of the painting of the Virgin Mary with the Christ child, and it was later discarded into a dark corner of the church. And instead now they've put a portrait of President Xi Jinping, which was hung in the center of one of the walls, surrounded by the propaganda slogans on both sides. Terry, this is the perfect example of the denial of religious liberty when we compromised with them.
Of course. And Jesse, I want to say this was a year ago when this deal was cut. And I'm going to mention former Cardinal McCarrick, who flew over to China many, many times, cutting this deal. And I'm still wanting two things, okay? Jess, I know I sound like a broken record. Number one, I want to know who knew about McCarrick. What other prelates were involved when he was handing out cash to everybody, telling them to keep their mouths shut? Those people who took cash, I'm hoping the Holy Father, when we get that report, will fire all those people. Number two, I want to know the deal that was cut a year ago for the Chinese, because this deal looks so bad on the persecution of the church. I just think it's full disclosure. What did we agree to? Because it appears right now we have agreed that communism is going to run the Catholic Church in China, and it's going to be suppressed. When these people spend $140,000 on their church and then they can't even use it for what it was being built for, the Chinese are just going to continue to abuse Christians. And I believe that Cardinal Zen, who was a holy man, we've had him on our show over the years, he's just saying, look, I'm going to the monastery to pray because I've said everything I can say to tell the Vatican that they did this deal, and it was a terrible deal. I'm the guy that lived in China, and you didn't even go to me to get my advice. Jesse, this sounds like this deal was cut by people who I can't trust, because what's happened, the hoi polloi Catholic in China is having to go underground to live their faith. And I still would say this, that I believe that when these deals that they're cut, whether it's McCarrick or with the Chinese, we need to know who knew what, because whoever did this, they need to be fired and removed. And so that's just my take.
Terry, there's a plausible theory that Cardinal McCarrick was a communist when he was young, that he encountered the communists when he was in Europe.
I read that, yeah.
And there's several authors that have actually written about that. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it's plausible.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Think about look what this man's done.
He went 8 times in behalf of Pope Francis to China, 8 times.
Yep.
As supposedly he was suspended by Pope Benedict, and here he is as an ambassador to China by Pope Francis. Something's fishy in Denmark, Terry.
Yeah, it smells really bad.
I'm looking here at this article, and I'm looking at the portrait of President Xi.
Yeah,
I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Xi.
It hangs at the center of the wall in the church, and there's propaganda slogans on both sides.
Yep.
A few days later, the officials confiscated the keys to the church and locked all its doors and windows.
Exactly.
And the Catholics basically lost their place of worship.
That's right.
I'm looking at another picture in this article. You can get it at vmpr.org or my website, jesseromero.com, if you want to get all the show material. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this picture of the painting of the Virgin Mary with the Christ child and St. Joseph. It's just discarded in a corner. It looks like they're ready to throw it away. And the same month, a Catholic meeting venue that's not part of the Chinese Patriotic Catholic Association, which is the official Catholic Church under communist regime, in Jiaping, Poyang County, they ordered to stop Catholic religious activities.
Yep.
And the local officials have threatened to revoke retirement pensions
Yep.
of elderly congregation members if there's another Catholic meeting held there. And the church's cross and a painting of the Virgin Mary and religious couplets were removed, and portraits of President Xi and the dictator Mao Zedong were displayed instead of the Catholic crucifix and other Catholic statues. In my take, Terry, this is another way of the communists discouraging believers, and the communist government, by these actions, are basically saying, Catholics, you're not welcome here.
And Jesse, this isn't the first time the church has made a prudential decision that's been really bad, okay, for the church. In Mexico, during the revolution, we remember, and I'll just tell you, my recollection of it is that there were 5,000 men who were told by the Vatican to put their guns down because they're going to be able to negotiate with the Mexican government and everybody's going to be fine and, we'll have peace. And, of course, what happened, Jesse, was just the opposite. When those men put their guns down and came in, they were slaughtered. Okay? So I'm just saying on prudential decisions like this, the church can make these prudential mistakes. And I believe, I'm just calling it for what it is, Jess. This is a huge mistake that the Holy See has made negotiating with communism. And every time, if you think back to like Cardinal of Hungary, Cardinal Menzeni, he would never negotiate with the communists. And you know what? We beat them at their game in the sense that the Catholics survived, made sacrifices, and we got rid of communism. See, communism is here today and it will be gone eventually. But to negotiate and do what we did now, we're basically negotiating with the devil. Okay, that's my take on communism. I think the devil is having a heyday with this deal. That's my take.
The article also, I'm looking at a picture in this article that got the president, again, President Xi and Mao Zedong, one of the dictators. They were posted at a Catholic meeting venue in Poyang County. And in early May, there's another Catholic venue in Poyang County that was shut down on the grounds that any church refusing to join the Chinese Patriotic Catholic Association is a dangerous cult and not permitted to operate. And the real Catholic congregation members said that they would rather worship at home than join the state-run church. And in September, in preparation for an inspection by Wang Yang, the president of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, the local officials ordered the congregation of the state-run St. Joseph's Cathedral in Linchuan district of Fuzhou City to display slogans supporting the Chinese Communist Party and promoting traditional Chinese culture outside the Catholic Church. So the church now looks like a government propaganda agency as you look at pictures of the exterior of this once beautiful St. Joseph's Cathedral in Fuzhou County. And the propaganda slogans promoting the love for the Chinese Communist Party have been placed outside St. Joseph's Cathedral. And after the inspection, the Provincial Chinese Patriotic Catholic Association and the National Commission of the Chinese Catholic Church, they convened a special meeting to discuss and study speeches by Wang Yang. Instead of studying the gospel, they're studying speeches from the communists. And the Chinese Patriotic Catholic Church, their clergy proclaimed their support for the Communist Party's leadership, love for the country and religion, and they pledged to contribute their share to realize China's dream, the great renewal of the nation. So, Terry, you have priests and bishops under the Patriotic Communist Church They're basically
They're working for
a mouthpiece.
Of
They're
course.
a mouthpiece for President Xi.
I would even say more than a mouthpiece. They're being paid by the government of China to do this job, and they're being paid
Like
well.
German prelates.
Exactly. And not only that, Jesse, we have to go back in history. Look what happened in Cuba with Fidel, with his communism. He took the church and said, look, you believe in God? Okay, ask God for a candy bar. No, God didn't give you a candy bar. Ask Fidel for a candy bar. He gives them candy bars. He was training the kids to get rid of religion, and that's what they're doing in China. As a matter of fact, Jesse, if you're 18 years or younger, they won't even let you in a Catholic church. So what are they doing?